Hello, Roger.
Hi, Camilla. Yes.
It's always a great pleasure to return, so we can discuss a little more about the profound truth that already deeply exists within you. You are truly limitless and extraordinary beings, beings of pure light, beings of infinite potential, created within love. You are currently within a physical reality that is deeply rooted in a fundamental duality. And deep within this specific nucleus you currently find yourself in, this vast and complex human collective that you are an integral part of, you begin to learn certain fundamental truths from the very first moment you choose to incarnate into this world. These truths don't belong to the divine reality, but to the collective. And these truths, which frequently, more often than not, are created based on illusions, they gradually begin to become part of your reality. And the beliefs you nurture deep inside your own hearts. There is a deeply held belief, a persistent and illusory truth that is very common, which is the widespread and mistaken idea that the universe, in some mysterious way, actively seeks to punish you for your actions. Many people, when they were children, heard the phrase, "Don't do that because God punishes." It might seem like that specific phrase is simply a small part of your past, and it truly no longer has any kind of effect on your life. Because today you know more, today you understand, today you are a different person. However, if you truly haven't quite grasped or fully understood the various complex concepts of an entirely different and separate universe, you still carry that inside you. But this time around, it is definitely not a deep-seated fear that the Almighty God might actually condemn you or pass a final judgment upon your soul, but rather the fear that you might condemn or judge other people or yourself. An example of this is that most of the time you can't admit it. Thank you. A feeling, a low frequency behavior that you're experiencing. So you judge yourselves, you condemn yourselves, or what is perhaps even more damaging and worse than that, you simply choose to ignore it entirely, acting as if it does not even exist in the first place, or as if it were somehow completely justifiable and acceptable under the circumstances. I did this because of that person. I did this because look at what they said to me. That's why I'm like this. But when am I going to learn? Because this doesn't get me anywhere. I really felt that. But how can I feel this way if I am made of love? This isn't right. You judge and condemn yourselves, or you judge and condemn the other person for what you're doing, thinking, or feeling, all because that's what you've learned. The concept of being deserving and the weight of condemnation are merely two different sides of the exact same coin, and they're both real. Either you deserve it or you're condemned. And today, more often than not, in your daily lives, you find yourself struggling with the desire to exert complete control over the things you are saying, the thoughts you are thinking, or even the emotions you are feeling. But controlling isn't the solution. It is important to keep in mind that if you can successfully manage and control your anger, you are actually doing a huge favor for yourself and your own well-being. Or if you You must control your inner
sem
fear.
medo,
You
você
think you're
vai
actually
estar se
helping yourself.
ajudando?
This
Isso é o mesmo que você é
It
o
is
mesmo que
essentially
você
like having
querer
the absolutely brilliant and
fazer a
clever idea
vida
of attempting to
ressecar
completely dry out a piece of
debaixo
ice under the hot
do
sun.
sol.
You're
Você
not
não
going to
vai
succeed.
conseguir. Porque
Because the complex nature of human feelings is so
sentimentos,
deep.
as
Every
palavras que
single word
vocês
that you
falam,
choose to
os
speak and the
gestos que
subtle
vocês
gestures you
fazem
make
durante
along
o
the way,
discurso,
they are really nothing more than
eles
outward
nada mais
symptoms of
são
what
que
lies within.
sintomas. Então
So
não
there's
adianta
absolutely
curar
no point
algo.
whatsoever in trying to heal
Amenizando
something by
apenas
simply
sintomas.
alleviating a symptom. A
Sintoma,
symptom is not the
ele
underlying
não
root
é a
cause.
causa, ele
It's
já é o
already the
primeiro
first reflection.
reflexo,
It
ele
already
já
is
é algo
something secondary.
secundário. Por
That's
isso,
why it shouldn't
não
have
deve
this
ter esta
significant weight of
importância
harsh judgment
de
or
julgamento,
condemnation on your part.
condenação da tua
This
parte,
applies neither to
nem para
yourself
você
nor to
e nem
what
aqui
concerns the other
para as
people
outras
around you.
pessoas.
Constantly
Controlar
attempting to
os seus
manage and control your
sentimentos,
feelings,
emoções,
actions, and thoughts
pensamentos,
only serves
faz
to
com que
feed that
tudo
cycle with your
saia
own
da
energy.
tua energia,
Without any kind of, quote,
sem
so
nenhum
called
tipo
self
de
improvement or personal growth.
melhora. Você
All
só
you do is
vai
provide it with food, and
alimentar
that is absolutely all.
ciúmes.
In order
Para
to truly heal deep
curar
seated feelings of
o
fear,
medo, a
anger,
raiva, a
envy, and general
inveja,
discomfort, it is absolutely
o
essential that
desconforto,
you take the time to go
você
directly to the
precisa
very source of these
ir à
emotions.
fonte. Às
Sometimes
vezes
that
é
source is visible,
imprevisível. Você
so
sabe
you
que
know
você
you're
está com
angry.
raiva, então
So
você
you know
sabe
you're
que você
feeling
está com
envious,
raiva.
but
Mas tem coisas
sometimes
que
it's
não
a
é
bit
forçado.
abstract.
E você sabe
And
que
you know
aquilo
you're
é
just
apenas
uncomfortable.
desconfortável. Pode
It
ser
could be about
aquilo
the
que você
specific
precisa,
emotions that you are currently
algo que você
feeling,
está fazendo,
what you are
aquilo que
doing,
você está
or even
pensando.
what you are thinking.
Mas
But
pode
it
ser
could also
também
be about your external
a sua
life,
vida
other
externa,
people,
outras
complex
pessoas,
situations, or the various events that are unfolding in your life right now.
aquilo que as pessoas
It
estão
might
fazendo,
involve
aquilo
what
que as
people are
pessoas estão
saying to
sentindo
you
em relação a
or
você.
what those people are feeling about you.
De qualquer forma,
Either way, there is always a
existe
specific root
uma
cause.
raiz. Não
It really makes
importa
no difference at all,
se
whether it's
ele está
originating
dentro de
directly from
você
you or from
ou
your
está
surrounding
vindo do
external
mundo
environment.
externo. Seja
Whether it's
pelo
from one
lado
particular
ou
side
pelo
or the very
outro,
opposite, it is actually
aquilo está
originating from a deep wound inside you.
sua. E
And if
se
it's
é
yours,
sua, só
only
você
you can
pode
heal it.
curar.
No
Ninguém
one else
pode
can
curar
heal what
aquilo
comes
que
from
vem de
you.
você. Então,
So,
nesse
when you start to
momento,
notice this low
nesse
frequency emotional
momento de
state,
baixa
please
frequência,
try not to blame
nesse
others or
momento
even
que houve
yourself.
nesse
Don't
vídeo,
try to search for
não tente achar
justifications or
desculpas
excuses
do que
for what you're
você está
feeling right now.
sentindo. Apenas
Just surrender
fale
to
a
the truth.
verdade. Eu
I
amo
love this
essa
person,
pessoa
but right
naquele
now,
momento. Eu
I
estou
really hate being around
ao
them.
lado dela.
I
Eu amo
truly
fazer
love
o
what
que
I
eu faço,
do,
mas
but
nesse
right at
momento
this moment,
eu
I just
estou
cannot stand
precisando
being
estar
here.
aqui. Eu
I
sei
know
que eu
I'm
sou
an
um ser
infinite and
limítado,
unlimited
mas
being,
nesse
but
momento
right
eu não
now, I'm
estou
not
conseguindo.
exactly doing much to help myself.
Olhar,
Take a moment to
sem
look
julgar,
without judging. See
enxergar a
yourself
si
with
mesmo
profound depth,
profundamente,
without ever
sem
condemning
se
yourself.
condenar. E
And
como
then, as the second
segundo
essential
passo
step in this deep healing
do
process,
processo de
after
cura,
you have truly
depois
seen
que você
yourself
se viu,
and after you have
depois que
really
você
looked
se
closely
olhou
at yourself,
profundamente,
you should practice the art of
faça o
Ho'oponopono.
Ho'oponopono. Faça o
Practice the ancient Hawaiian art of
Ho'oponopono.
Ho'oponopono to effectively
Dissolver
dissolve
os
the deeply
celulares,
ingrained
porque ele
cellular
está
memories and
entrando dentro da
subconscious
tua
patterns you're carrying
consciência
within your consciousness
e
that are
estão
creating the persistent emotional
ocupando
shadows,
as
which serve
sombras,
as the
que
underlying
são as
fundamental roots of those
raízes
physical and emotional symptoms
daqueles
you are currently
sintomas que
experiencing in
você
your daily
está
life.
vivendo. Quando
Once you
você
truly
compreende esse
understand this
mecanismo
complex
e
psychological
compreende
mechanism
que ele
and
acontece
realize
com
that it
você,
happens to
mas
you,
acontece
but
também
it
com
also
todas
happens
as
to
outras
every
pessoas
single
que
person
passam
who
pela
comes
tua
into your
vida,
life, you can finally start to
você
deeply and
começa
authentically take care
a
of yourself in a way
efetivamente
you never thought
cuidar
possible
de si
before.
mesmo. Porque
Because
esse é o
this is the
ponto
main point.
principal.
Loving yourself isn't just about establishing healthy daily habits and positive behaviors, or simply looking after your physical appearance. Loving yourself is truly about deeply knowing yourself and taking care of the complex emotions and thoughts happening deep inside of you. Loving yourself might sometimes mean buying something nice, a new car. Loving yourself could potentially also mean allowing yourself to love and be loved. But loving yourself is also the profound act of truly recognizing when you're completely overwhelmed and overcome by anger, when you're completely overwhelmed and overcome by fear, when you're completely overwhelmed and overcome by envy, and when you're completely overwhelmed and overcome by feelings of deep-seated hatred. In that moment, you look deeply at yourself and you truly see yourself. That is an act of love. There is nothing wrong in this moment. On the contrary, it's a moment of liberation and possibly of healing. So, observing and practicing Ho'oponopono with the intention of healing over time eventually grants you the ultimate freedom to no longer having to be held captive or imprisoned by that deeply painful old wound. Because every time you go through the same process, feeling anger, feeling fear, feeling anxiety, getting stressed, feeling anguish, you're tied to a root. So your consciousness doesn't even have the vital energy or the necessary internal space to expand as much as it truly could. But the more you consciously let go of those deep-seated roots, healing those old wounds, your consciousness, it naturally starts to gain much more space and significantly more strength, so you can experience a much deeper sense of happiness in your life.